What's up, everybody? Bill Tendo here with the arcade cabinet. Mark is out today. He's working on some personal stuff, but he'll be back with us next week. We have Sharon and Gunnar, as always, and we have Dean visiting us from the UK again. Pleasure to have you, Dean. Today we're going to be going over the console wars. I mean, we all grew up through the console wars, Sega versus Nintendo. And I mean, there was a couple of side battles in there, but really that's what it was. It was Sega versus Nintendo. Dean, I'm really interested to hear your perspective on this, being that you're from the UK. And from what I understand, Sega won the console wars in the UK for what you call the Mega Drive, we call the Sega Genesis. Whereas in America, Nintendo had a very decided victory. So I'm interested to hear you tell us about why you think they won in the UK.
I think it's just down to taste. I mean, depending on which country you go to, everyone's just got different taste. I mean, like you just said, Nintendo won the American side of the Atlantic, and Sega won our side of it.
Yeah, but
although I must admit, I wasn't one of them because I actually had a SNES, so I did actually do my part in Nintendo.
All right.
Wow, that's interesting.
Me personally, I was very much a Nintendo guy. We didn't have money for us to have both when I was a kid, so it was one or the other. It was what you could get a hold of. Nintendo was already pretty much winning with everyone I knew, except for a couple cousins, and so we all played Nintendo. Now, Sharon, I know you like to play both, but boy, even to this day, when you talk a lot of time, I don't hear a lot about classic Nintendo. I hear you talk about Sega Saturn, the Genesis, Master System.
Yeah, man. With the console wars, I never really thought there was a winner or a lose. It was just console wars. It was just Nintendo Sega, because a lot of times, with the exception of the exclusive titles, they would normally have the same games. It would play a little bit different, but I had both. I had a Nintendo, and then by the time I got Nintendo, the Sega Genesis popped up. No, first it was a TurboGrafx 16, and then the Sega Genesis popped up after that. And then it's like, oh man, Nintendo can't compete with that. I mean, because look at those graphics. All of a sudden, we got the Super Nintendo, and I saw Contra 3 and Castlevania, and I was like, oh man, look at that. I mean, and from then on, it was, I had the Super Nintendo, and I had two of my friends, Desmond Berry and Liddell Haynes. They had the Sega Genesis. So we were going back and forth between each other's house, and they would come play Super Nintendo at my house, and I would play Sega at their house, and we would trade the teams. And eventually, I got a job, and I wound up getting a Sega Genesis, so I had both. So there was no war. It's just what system I wanted to buy this game on, because I like Sonic. Right. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, and I love playing Super Mario. But there was no Sonic the Hedgehog on Nintendo, and there was no Mario on Sega. So I had to get the best of both worlds, and that's how I did it.
Right. Interesting. Gunnar, where did you fall?
Well, I'm with Sharon. I had both consoles. I've played a lot on the Sega Genesis. I've played a lot on the NES. I'm gonna honestly say I like Nintendo better. Just the NES is better in general for me. I even like the disc system, but that's before the console wars. I really like the Nintendos, though. I mean, I actually wasn't born then. I was born in '95, so I'm younger than the age for sure. But, I know about the console wars. I know about the. I know about the slogan where Sega's like, what Nintendo don't, Sega do what Nintendo don't, and all that. But I'm going to say I really do like Nintendo better. I've played on both consoles, and I'm with the Nintendo side for sure.
I will say just one thing, chaps. I actually had both, because when I was growing up, I had a Game Gear, a Master System. My mum bought me a SNES when I was 10 years old. And then we sort of just veered on towards Nintendo's. I mean, I had a Wii. My sister's got a Wii as well. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, we kind of did both. But I think what it was for me, I just felt like the SNES kind of felt a lot better because, I mean, I was still playing Donkey Kong Country about 6 years after it first came out.
Right.
And I don't really remember, like saying, oh, do you know what? I really miss half of the stuff at Master System or Game Gear.
Yeah, I actually have a Game Gear. Those are all right. The batteries are a problem for me. That's a lot of batteries.
You know the Game Gear Sega the Game Gear Sonic Challenge where you try to beat the game before your batteries run out?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
He had one of those. I believe they had to wind up getting like a battery pack or something for it, and you had to charge it. It was really the way to go. I mean, because you were going to... If
I remember, it was one of those battery pack style things like they had for the camcorders at the time. Yeah. It was a big thing, and you had it in a case. It wasn't like what we carry around now, like a little square like this. No, it was.
Nobody wants to carry that around. I mean, the Game Gear was big in itself.
It didn't really last even all that long. You still had to. But I mean, the thing that you could recharge it was, I mean, it saved you a little bit.
Right. So when I think of the console wars, one of the biggest things for me, and it honestly makes me a little bit sad because it's something that my children will never experience, is between each generation of console, whether you're talking about Master System, NES, you're talking about Mega Drive, Genesis, to the SNES, there was such a leap in sound and graphics and speed. Yeah. And so they really could have this battle over who was coming out the strongest. I remember Sega with the blast processing thing, which, looking back on, wasn't really that big of a deal, but they built it like it was. It was a brand by itself. And we kept seeing all these amazing leaps forward. And now my kids are watching the new Xbox and the new PlayStation come out, and there is no major leaps. The major leaps are done, man. That all happened during the console wars.
It's not. The video games now, I think they're extremely well made, but it doesn't have the excitement that we had with the console wars. Because, I mean, you got to think, you're coming from an Atari to a Nintendo, and you got arcade games. All of a sudden you get that style game in your house. That was exciting. I mean, it's supposed that you can get to stuff like that with like a Nintendo, Sega, and then when Sega made that Sega CD, it's like, oh my god, video game.
Yeah, my cousin had one of them.
Yeah, I still have one. But I mean, it was a cool thing to play a video game on a CD back then.
Yeah, people were like, holy hell, video games on CD.
Yeah.
But I mean,
how many years did we actually hear about Nintendo going to CD before they actually did with the GameCube? Yeah. I mean, hey, PlayStation's creation is the result of Nintendo's failed attempt at a CD-based unit.
Yeah.
Did you know that years ago, I want to say it was probably about 1994, I was in a store called Campo. Remember them in Gulfport?
Yeah,
and
I remember Campo.
They had the Nintendo CDI thingy, and I actually got to play that Mario. No, it was a Zelda game I got to play, and it was like on this remote control, and you had it was weird. You just kind of like moving around and everything, and it was I don't totally remember everything about it, but it was a couple games that they had, but it was a really expensive machine. But I think that they were supposed to be a Nintendo. See, it was called Nintendo PlayStation. And then Nintendo, that was the machine that Nintendo went, and they kind of went behind and they made. And so Sega was like, not Sega, I'm sorry. PlayStation was like, okay, we're going to pop up, we're going to do our own thing. And I'm actually glad that they did, because we probably wouldn't have the games that we have now.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot and things like that.
Yeah.
Spider-Man as well.
What you just described, you're very, very close to the actual story, but what happened was you're talking about the Philips CDI, and they used licensed Nintendo properties. I actually passed up a chance to buy one, and they are still pretty expensive as collector's items, but the games are basically garbage. Even the Zelda games are known as the absolute worst Zelda games made. What happened was Nintendo was working with Sony on a disc system, and they went to the E3 that year and actually decided, and Sony didn't know at the time, when they went up on stage, they said, we're coming out with a disc system partnered with Philips Electronics. And Sony's sitting there basically ass in hand. You know, so they decided they're going to finish the console themselves and sell it. And that's how they became the PlayStation. And Philips CDI got Nintendo licensed properties.
Pretty much screwed Sony over on that, but Sony wasn't going to give up.
Sony
was like, we're not quitting, we'll just put it out.
Well, they already had all that money in the development.
They're like, we're not going to give up on it, so we'll just send it and put it out ourselves.
Right. I think that's what kind of buried Nintendo for a little bit, was that Sony PlayStation. You know, I mean, it really did. Nintendo was putting out some really good products. I mean, for that Sony PlayStation 32-bit CD.
Yeah, imagine though. Just imagine if that would have went the other way, and Sony still would have been partnered with Nintendo.
Yeah,
it would have been a different world for sure.
Yeah. I wonder what it would have been now. But I mean, you know, I like the games that Nintendo are putting out. I like the games that Sony is putting out, you know, and Microsoft.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, and I like the fact that I don't know that Sega will ever come out with another console, but I like the fact that they're licensing their games to these systems.
Right.
Sega,
that you can play them on modern consoles.
Yeah, they make some great games.
It seems to me Sega has forgotten what built their company in the first place. And their company was built in the first place not on home consoles, but by having quality games, whether it be in the arcade or good original games on their home consoles. And that's what they still do, is develop games.
Oh, yeah.
Why are they leaving all these titles just laying by the wayside? You know, who doesn't want to see a new well, we got a new Alex Kidd coming, you know.
Ooh,
but who doesn't want to see some of these titles that they've just left out there come back? Like, let's get a Streets of Rage 4, 5, 6.
Streets of Rage, bro. That would be so cool.
I believe that's what they're doing now. Is they see that everybody loves these nostalgic titles. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Golden Axe pretty soon.
Ooh,
I would love a new. I would love a current gen Altered Beast on the Switch, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That would be a phenomenal game.
That would be way good.
I'm not surprised if they pull that out, you know, because they've already brought back Sonic Mania. That was great. Streets of Rage.
Right.
Like I said, we have Alex Kidd that's coming out. And you know, they're revamping all these games. Like, you know, we got the Crash Bandicoot, It's About Time. I watched that. And I didn't get to play Spyro the Dragon yet, but I mean, I've seen it. You know, so yeah, we're kind of we're bringing the games back out. You know, they did the same thing a couple of years ago with DuckTales. You know, they did the game, the Castle of Illusion. I mean, those games were great. That was Sega. But Sega did the Castle of Illusion. Capcom did the DuckTales game.
Yeah.
Right. But you know, you have all these titles that they can draw from that they haven't done anything with in many years.
Right.
When you know, it's funny, we talk about Sonic now on every console. You can get Sonic for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo. But you remember the first time you saw a Sonic game on Nintendo? Like, I think it was GameCube, and they had a Sonic game for GameCube. Yeah, and you were like, this is cool. But man, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's yeah, for real.
Like this is blasphemy. This is like grabbing a Dreamcast and popping in Mario 64. It's awesome. We shouldn't be doing this. It's wrong. It's wrong.
for real though. It was weird. It was awkward as hell.
At the same time, I'm kind of glad they did it because now that's one less system I have to buy.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but honestly, other than console exclusive, which we all know Nintendo's definitely the king of console exclusive with their first party titles, you know, Mario, Let's Zelda, Animal Crossing, all of these. With the exception of exclusive games, I don't have a problem with multiple consoles. I don't want to buy a console specifically for a game, but I do look at that console and say, are there more games I want to play on here than are available on there? Yeah. As far as that is a big determining factor for me. Whichever one has the first party games or exclusives that I feel I'm going to play the most of, because I know everything else, if it's made by EA, it's going to be on every damn system.
Yeah,
you know?
On every single thing
you
can think of.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, you get EA makes a sports game, you're able to play it on a calculator for some reason.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You can even get the EA games on your iPhone nowadays. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I feel like the competition of consoles is very healthy, and I have nothing against it. I don't want to see one company make the consoles and everybody else develop games for it. Because then you get the attitude of developers, not all, but there will definitely be some where, hey, you know, we're just going to make a game. What are they going to do? Go to another company? You know?
Right. Maybe.
Kind of what happened with the Atari crash. You know, a huge part of their problem was they let anyone make games for an Atari 2600. Absolutely anyone. And 90% of Atari 2600 games are absolute garbage.
Yeah, because they came from people's basements. Literally.
Exactly. There was no quality control. And if you think about it, realistically, during the 2600's heyday, they had very little competition. It was pretty much a one console world.
It really was. It was the biggest thing, and nobody knew like video games like they do now. So it wasn't the only thing out, but everybody was like, "Oh, it's a video game thing for your TV. It's like a computer, I guess." They didn't know what to think of it, and everybody went and bought it. And then the games were trash like that. It was weird.
I mean, Atari did try and insert the Atari Jaguar in between the Sega and Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the Jaguar.
I don't really think that went well.
No,
I was actually a fan of the Jaguar, especially its potential. Yeah. But when it came out, man, that thing was gross. It was ugly. The controllers were horrible. What do I need a number pad for? Am I making phone calls here? Like, it was, everything about the Jaguar was terrible, and I really wanted it to be good. I wanted to love it. You know?
I'll put the icing on the cake for you about that Jaguar. And when you put the CD on top of it, it looked like a toilet seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I think a lot of people wanted it to be good for the sole fact that it was Atari, and it was like they grew up on the 2600, and so they wanted it to be good, but it just didn't work out that way.
Right.
I never got to play one. I always wanted to.
I think someone I used to know had an Atari Jaguar, but I don't really think I got that much time playing it.
Right.
So I can't really
titles.
I actually didn't have the money to buy one new, but what happened was many years ago, I was working with a guy and he's like, "Hey, I bought this game system if you're interested. I don't want it. I don't like it." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want for it?" And he's like, $10. And it was a Jaguar with like a dozen games.
Damn.
And at the time, like, people were buying these and, you know, it was going around, "Hey, the Jaguar's garbage. You don't want it." So he gave it to me for $10. I ended up losing it in Katrina, and it blows my mind how much the thing's worth now. But I played it a decent amount. I thought it was okay. It was supposed to be 64 on competition with the Nintendo and PlayStation 1, but it wasn't. It was more in between a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo 64, because it had a little bit of 3D, but for the most part, it was Super Nintendo style graphics.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree with that. Actually, I agree with that. That's a good way to put it, for sure.
Yeah. It had one or two like really cool. Like it had Rayman, which the PlayStation had Rayman, and
Rayman's so good.
It
I
had
love
AVP.
that game.
Yeah, it had AVP. But like I said, I never actually got the. It had some game called Way of the Warrior.
Yeah,
You know,
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, I used to get like a lot of video game books. I lost them in Katrina. I wish I still had them. And I mean, it was. I mean, I had a lot of Jaguar content in those things, and it was really cool. Like I'm with you, Bill. I didn't have the money to buy it. You know, I had a friend that I worked with. He had one, and he would often talk about it. I never dogged it, but like I said, I never got to play it. I think it would really be a cool thing to have now. You know,
Yeah.
being I mean, it's still a console. I still got a lot of respect for it. But like I say, I never had one. I never got to play it. Maybe one day.
I want a Jaguar just like I want a Virtual Boy, so I could play it one time a year for 30 minutes and have a migraine from it.
And I'm gonna tell you, I am not a fan of color red at all. I don't like red. This does something to me. And I played a Virtual Boy one time and never looked back.
for real.
Now, let me tell you, there's only one way to play the Virtual Boy, and this is not a joke. I play it on my Retro Pi. You know,
Yeah.
little circuit board with 12,000 games on it.
Yeah.
I can play the Virtual Boy games on there comfortably because
Right.
it's not, you know,
In your
wrapped
face.
around your face,
Right.
like feel like you have a laser shot into your eyeballs.
Right,
You can
the
play it
red-
on a
the
regular
red
screen.
lights are just like a laser, yeah. For real, though.
Yeah, it's fairly comfortable to play
That's
on a
good.
regular television.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd have to try that.
I haven't tried that yet either, ever before. I'm gonna try doing it because
Yeah.
So
it really does give you a headache from hell.
yeah, so here's a question for you guys. Over like the last 3 months or so, that number one selling game on the Nintendo eShop for the Switch has been Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Such a good
Now,
game.
it
Oh,
it just got knocked out from the number one spot by a game that was released Friday, which was the newest incarnation of Paper Mario, Origami King.
really?
What do you guys think of the Paper Mario
I
games?
absolutely love Thousand Year Door on the GameCube. Oh,
That was
my-
right.
That is way good game.
Mm.
I played a Paper Mario game. It was on the Wii.
Yeah,
Wasn't that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I can't remember which one it is, but I definitely have it behind me somewhere.
I have it somewhere. But I've never played Animal Crossing. I don't even know what it's about. I
Animal
know it's,
Crossing. You're missing out.
Animal,
A lot of celebrities play Animal Crossing. I know Chrissy Teigen, who's married to John Legend, plays it quite a bit.
I am addicted to New Leaf.
So Animal Crossing is one of those great go at your own pace time waster games. You know, if you only got 5 minutes to kill because you're sitting in the doctor's office
Yeah.
waiting, you know, and you got your Switch with you, go ahead and bust it out. You can play Animal Crossing for 5 minutes, or you can sit at home on a Saturday and play it for 6 hours straight and then not touch it again for 3 or 4 days and come right back to it and jump on it. It's a great game for just gaming when you have time, because you don't have to go through these complex missions and such.
And you don't have to finish out, like, hop in a lobby and finish out the lobby or anything. You can just sit by yourself and play, relax. Don't have to worry about talking to real players or anything like that.
Right. I'm gonna go to the beach and get some crabs, and then I'm gonna actually go take a shower.
Right, it's really relaxing. I really got addicted to New Leaf on the 3DS. I had the new 3DS XL. It was a red one. And I remember I bought so many games. I bought a lot of games, but the only one I ever was going to was Animal Crossing New Leaf. Just was always playing it.
I've finally got Go ahead, Sharon.
I say I kind of want to play it now because I hear so much about it, but I never really given it a look.
I would recommend it, really.
It's a chill series, man. Whatever Nintendo consoles you have, from GameCube on up, check them out. Now, granted, some of the older ones, like the GameCube version, is I think floating around $70 or $80 right now. The Wii versions are definitely cheaper. Wii U, for some reason I have Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival for the Wii U. I don't feel like that's a game I'm going to play a lot.
Well,
I
have a Nintendo Switch.
You can even get Animal Crossing.
So you can download from the eShop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always seen it on there, but I'm like, okay, I don't know. Also, maybe it was like a children's game.
No,
you know,
it's really
around like petting a dog or something. That's how.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you play that in Nintendogs.
Nintendo. Yeah, well, there is Animal Crossing on the original DS, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah,
you could play Nintendogs.
I actually started messing around with Phantom Hourglass on my DS XL.
Okay.
The Legend of Zelda game, and I've never played it before, and I'm very frustrated because you have to play the whole game with the stylus. You don't get to use the D-pad or the buttons, really.
Oh, God.
It's
like, to be honest, I have a certain reputation I like to project. Like, I love Legend of Zelda. I have a Zelda tattoo. I have Zelda clothes. Just one console game I've never played, and that's Skyward Sword. I started it one time, but it's motion controlled, dude. I own it, but it's motion controlled, so it really kind of turns me off.
Skyward Sword.
I've beaten every console Zelda game and have never played Skyward Sword for more than 5 minutes.
Ew.
Everyone's allowed to boogie title. I mean, I've got the Batman Arkham trilogy, but I don't play Arkham Origins because it's just that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you went.
We're going back to the episode with Resident Evil 3. The controls on that were just that bad too.
You know, it's so far out the norm for me. It's no controller. I have to swing my arms the whole time, and I don't know. I feel like there's a hump I have to get over to really want to play this game.
It's not so bad.
It's a good game.
You don't have to be like so aggressive like when you swing. You know, you just kind of, a lot of people are doing this. You don't necessarily have to do that. You just kind of make the motions and everything like Harry Potter.
Right, but let me tell you, if Nintendo released a remastered Skyward Sword for the Switch right now, that you use the thumbsticks and buttons, no motion controls, I'd buy it tomorrow, man. I'd have it beat by this weekend.
They just might.
It's worth getting used
guys,
to.
we only have about 2 minutes left, so if there's some stuff you guys want to shout out, feel free to go ahead and do it.
I will say one thing. I started my gaming life with a Sega, but I kind of ventured onto Nintendo, so kind of Nintendo is where my heart is. And then obviously when that console war ended, I sort of became a PlayStation man, and no amount of Nintendo will ever take me back there because I think the damage has been done and Sony's just progressed too far that you really wouldn't want to go back.
I love Sony. I will say that. I'm a PlayStation guy too. I love PlayStation.
Sony do make the better exclusives as well.
Look, Sony, you're right. Sony, they
makes the better exclusives.
The Spider-Man, I've got that. God of War, everyone raves about how great it is.
Yeah, everybody does, and same with Uncharted. Everybody loves Uncharted too.
I go back and forth. I can play either or depending on my mood.
Right.
Because I like the Nintendo. I can play Nintendo. I can play Sega. I can play the Xbox. I can play the PlayStation. I just go back and forth. So I don't. I like them all equally, I believe.
Yeah, one thing I did like, back on the Xbox 360, I really liked a game called Vigilante 8. And back on the Xbox 360, they released the arcade version of Vigilante 8 for the 360.
I have Vigilante 8 for PlayStation 1, and I actually gave it to my friend for Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
I got it in a bundle of other games. It didn't look like something I was really going to put any time into.
It's a cheap game.
And a friend really wanted it.
And I like it, but it's not.
I don't know. It's got a decent fan base.
Yeah, it's got a fan base for sentimental value, I feel like, and things like that. I mean, it's not like a super great, expensive or rare title or anything, but I enjoy the game.
Right. All right, guys, we got to wrap up here for today. Sharon, you want to shout out your artwork?
Oh yeah, you check me out, Sharon Art on Facebook. Also Sharon Art Store on Etsy. We're still kind of tweaking everything out right now, so just bear with me. But yeah, you check me out there.
Gotta check him out. His art's pretty dope. Really gotta check it out.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I really like your art.
Gunnar, if I'm remembering properly, your Gold Star Tech reviews on Facebook.
Gold Star Tech reviews on Facebook.
All right, Dean, what you got?
I'm on Twitter under 2. I've got Final Cut, and I've also got Final Cut Gaming on Twitter. And if you're on Facebook, you'll find me Final Cut Reviews.
Okay, sounds good. I'm Bill Tendo. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. Also, this podcast is available on many platforms, and we do have an Instagram for the Arcade Cabinet. We also have a YouTube for the Arcade Cabinet. Check them out. They're featuring exclusive content to show kind of some of the stuff that we do behind the scenes, some of the conversations we have, and just some interesting little things that you're not going to see here on the regular show. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. I really appreciate it, and we'll see y'all later.
See you later.